Well, good evening. The music means we've started the show. We're going to start late tonight with the game still going on. If you're watching it, I'm not going to spoil it for you. And we'll see what happens. But meanwhile, I'm Buddy Martin. The program is Buddy Martin's show. It's a Wednesday night. We've got Shane Matthews standing by in the Gator debate room. And we'll get his take on those watching the basketball game. And we'll also get his take on what he saw at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. One of the really great nights, I thought, that they've had. And I wasn't there, but Shane was. So we'll see what he's got to say about that. And you could tell from the people there that were very happy. It was a much celebrated night, and one which I think I wish I was there. And here's a guy who was. Let's go see what he's got to say about it. Good evening to Shane Matthews, normally with us on a Monday night, but he was out partying at Spurriers. Hi there, party boy.
What's up, buddy?
Basketball. We're not going to spoil it for people who might be taping it, but it's a crazy night out in Austin, Texas. And my headline says, "Are the Gators the hunted or the hunter?" They're now becoming the hunted more than they were before, after they vaulted up to number 7 in the AP poll, looking like very much a good chance to slide into that number 2 position as a number 2 seed, from what we're hearing. And then we got a game day game coming up on Saturday, one which will be quite interesting, since the other team is Arkansas, and they're pretty good. So, Shane, quick comment on basketball. Don't give away the score yet, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it afterwards. But then we'll go right to the real story tonight, which was what a show at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. It was quite something. And I'm hearing it's causing a little bit of a problem for the folks who were there, because the great stuff that came out that was not supposed to be posted, that was. But first, basketball. Are you satisfied with the way Florida's playing tonight without giving up the score?
Yeah, I mean, it's Texas has a really good home record, and Texas spreads the court extremely well and has guys that can make plays and score. Play one-on-one basketball for the most part. So, been an entertaining game for sure.
Tons and tons and tons of blocks for Florida. Last time I checked, they had 8 or 9 and a half for the second half, and they just seem to, obviously their height. I said this before, and I don't want to jinx them, but I love watching this team play. I remember when Urban Meyer once said of Steve Spurrier's team when he was hired at Florida, "Did you watch Steve Spurrier's team play?" He said, "I watched everything they did." I said, "What did you like?" And Urban said, "I liked the way they dressed, liked the way they walked, the way they played, everything they did." And when this team is playing right, it's fun to watch. They really got some great talent. And I think as life goes on, we look back at these days. These are the salad days for Gator basketball, don't you think?
Well, they're very well coached. When you watch us play, we get a lot of easy buckets, buddy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of play designs, guys being good teammates, and it's when you get easy looks at the basket, makes life easier. And I think this team is extremely talented. They're statistically they're better than last year's team on offense and defense. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, they are starting to move ahead a little bit now, which is good. Struggle. They were behind a lot tonight, more than the team has had. But you know what? They need a little bit of a test, Shane. They can't.
Well, like I said, Texas has got a really good coach, Sean Miller, who's been around. They have some very talented guys, and their offense causes problems. They'll make the NCAA tournament, and Texas got some dudes that could surprise some people.
Yeah, it's we'll see how this game goes out. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but big day coming up, game day Saturday in the O-Dome. It's the game day is during the day, but the game day, I think, is at night, the game itself. Florida versus Arkansas, the number 2 team in the SEC. I'm not as high on Arkansas as a lot of people are. I think you have been. What are your thoughts about that?
Arkansas is a very good team. I would think they're the second best team in the league. They definitely have the freshman of the year. They may have the player of the year in Darius Acuff, phenomenal point guard. So
I don't know about that. The guy from BYU is amazing.
I said the SEC player.
Oh,
of the
I didn't
year.
hear that. I thought you just heard
Yes.
you said player of the year. I didn't hear the SEC.
Yeah. So, well, it's going to be a good basketball game.
Yeah.
Tournament type action.
Mm-hmm. All right, you were at the big party. It was a fun thing to watch on TV, especially when the coaches started to act like they were at a roast. Kirby was remarkable, and Cristobal too. Now I've heard since that time that the coaches, like those guys, felt a little betrayed about the fact that stuff showed up on social media. It was their understanding that there wasn't going to be any of that. And the story I heard is that some guy from Miami posted it. And once they posted, Mike Griffith, who of course is one of the guys who puts the night on, he posted it on Dog Nation. And it got a lot of play, amazing amount of reaction. But it was fun. And a whole bunch of people online said, gosh, I wish ESPN could do more things like that. But no, they can't, because if ESPN was doing, those guys wouldn't be as loose-lipped as they were. You were there. What was it like? Were you surprised to hear some of the things you heard? And let's talk about a couple of guys who got fired from Florida who were being honored there.
Yeah, I mean, Dabo was there last year. You got to remember, the only coach that was there that got an award was Dan Mullen.
No.
Yes.
Doug Dickey got one too.
Doug Dickey. I'm talking about Kirby and Mario.
Current active, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They had players there getting awards.
Yeah.
That's why they were there. I thought it was great. Dabo was funny as heck last year. I mean, Doug Dickey was funny. Everybody was. It was great. I mean, I know a lot of fans get upset about them taking shots at one another or taking shots at Florida, but I mean, I've always been a Kirby Smart guy. I've known him for years. I love the way he coaches. I love the way he treats his players, and he's just a good dude. And I thought he was great the other night.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of problems with Kirby. He was very funny the other night, and I don't believe in hating somebody because they help coach a team that you don't like or your rival. It's one thing to be rivals, and these guys are, and get after it and whatever, in golf or whatever. But when like we said the other night, we were talking. I know a lot of coaches who were rivals who were buddies. I can go all the way back to the coaches at Florida and Florida State way back when, who were hated. They thought they were hated to each other. They went fishing together. Your dad was a coach. You've been a coach. Do you think that's just a thing they do to get people fired up?
Well, you got to remember, Mario and Kirby were on staff for many, many years together. You hear them talk about it all during football season.
Must have been great working for Nick with those guys there,
Yeah, I mean, but like Kirby and Lane, Muschamp, Sarkisian, and there's a couple of, they're on a text feed. You hear them talk about it all during the football season, how they text one another. That's just, I mean, it's just guys being guys. It's no different than when guys play against one another or they play with each other in college and they go play in the pros against one another. They're still buddies.
Mm-hmm. So all those people besides Kirby, if you wanted to go have a beer with somebody, which coach would you like to go have a beer with?
That was at the thing?
Yeah.
Oh, it would be Kirby only. I mean, I
said besides Kirby.
I mean, I've had a beer with Dan Mullen. I've had beers with Coach Spurrier, so that's.
Okay.
I've had beers with Kirby too. So.
Okay. Okay. Good question then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's something that I want to discuss with you. How inappropriate is it the University of Florida's top brass doesn't show up for that. Now, the coach, John Summerall, was there, and he looked like he was having a good time, but there was no Scott Strickland, nobody from the athletic department. Nobody showed up there to support this event, which has become a really significant event in terms, I think, of college football. And the final score is Florida 84.
Buddy, I didn't think you were going to tell people what the score was.
Well, if I said to the final score. The final score. Yeah. So anyway, Gators win. I'll tell the score later. That was not an easy game for them. And what a night Kondo had, huh?
He like I said, if he plays in the restricted area in the paint, he's a good basketball player. And that's what he's done the last 3 to 4 games.
Yeah, but Shane, you got to give him credit for handling the ball in the break.
Well, I do. He made a good play there, but he also turns it over a lot. He didn't tonight. But I'm just saying he is a very good basketball player if he stays in the paint.
He does things that 7-foot guys don't do, and even the announcer, whoever he was, said he's a point center. Where he handled the ball in break and got the when Thomas Haugh got the dunk, which, by the way, him hurting is one thing could really kill him and start getting a bunch of injuries. It kind of scared me when I saw Thomas Haugh turn his ankle, and he's okay though. He's okay. So, yeah, it was. This is 3 games in a row. I don't know how many Kondo ended up with, over 20. And this is his 3rd big game. What's the difference, Shane?
He's staying in the paint.
Well, but he didn't stay in the paint when he's handling the ball at break.
But, okay, so he threw 1 lob tonight, and it was a great lob. But he is scoring, and he is just having tons of layups and dunks off pick and rolls because he is staying in the paint in the restricted area down low. That's what I have seen in the last 3 games. And if he does that, he can be a very efficient player. It's when he's out on the perimeter that I don't think he's a very good player.
Well, they're getting close to clinching the regular season here. I forget this was the next step, and I think they could do it Saturday. A combination of wins and losses there. That'll be interesting. And basketball team has been really fun to watch. Shane, let's talk football. I've seen a couple of interviews. We're going to get, by the way, we are going to get a Coach Summerall on our program here in about a month. We got the confirmation. We're glad to have him on and get a chance. We didn't get that for the last coach, and we're happy about that. And it looks like, from what you hear from everybody, I listened to a couple of Urban Meyer's podcasts. We'll have him on, by the way, on our show Friday. But he said on his podcast, he was asked to review Summerall's record. And he said he went through a bunch of clips. So he asked one of his helpers to get me the best 6-7 clips of his games. And then let me read the interviews. And he said by the time he got ready to he saw the games and he talked to him. He said, "This is the guy." He said, "I thought this is it, man. This is the guy." He was so excited about it. And then he got a chance to call Summerall to ask him a few questions. And Summerall, how much are they alike?
I don't know the answer to that because I didn't play for Urban. I think John's a lot like Coach Spurrier because he says what's on his mind and he's going to make people earn playing time. That's what I see. I know there's a lot of comparisons to Urban, but I didn't play for Urban. I don't know enough about Urban's way of doing things, but I think John says exactly what's on his mind, and people have to earn to play.
It's not a bad thing to have a little bit of Spurrier and Urban in you both. Pretty darn good there. So, there's going to be hiccups. We know it. I hope they don't get bitten in the butt by losing. I know we talked about this the other night, and now they can't keep everybody. But they had one of the great, really wide receiver coaches in the country, and they had to let him go. And I think he served Florida well. I now understand why Summerall would go on his own guy, wide receiver coach. It just sucks that when you have to get good coaches and you have to let them go, you know?
Well, John Summerall may think the guy that he has is a better coach.
He might. I got
Yeah.
to
I
tell
mean,
you.
he obviously did because he hired him. So
Yeah, no, it's his privilege. But I'm just talking about what these guys have seen, you know, what I've seen and what I've over the years and his contributions that he's made to the program, and they had to let him go. And now he's at Texas. He's at Texas with two other former Gator coaches. There must be something good going on in Florida football if Texas keeps hiring their former coaches. And we said the other night, Muschamp is getting $8 million over 3 years, $8.4 million. And Jaluk is there. And he was one of the better coaches that they had here under Billy, and now they've got the wide receiver coach. I don't know. It's just you hate to see it, but it's one of the things about coaching that you know. Pizza Bill says, our friend, they serve with the pleasure of the head coach. And he's absolutely right there, isn't he?
Do what?
Pizza Bill says, I serve with the pleasure of the head coach, and that's what they need from all their coaches, obviously. That's the idea. So anyway, I just I want to know your gut, and I want to know how you feel. What's the vibe for you?
I mean, I think there's a lot of excitement. He brings a lot of energy to the program. I love his staff. The staff is way better than last year's
Have
staff.
you had a chance to interact with any of the staff members, Shane?
No, just met the head coach. That's it.
Okay.
I'm just kind of one of those that keeps to myself. I'll let them go do their job.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go watch the spring practices, but look, Buster Faulkner can call plays. That's all I care about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the fact that they got a line coach there now. It's a good job. We talked about this. Got their own guy in Troutline, and I think it's going to show up on the front line. I heard Summerall say one of the things he learned. He went down and lifted with a team, and they were doing deadlifts. And he said he really was concerned that they weren't deadlifting more and better. And he said he lived with deadlifting for a while, and said now they've already started, started doing more work. And he said in 2 weeks he could begin to see some difference in the deadlift. So yeah. I think I can't wait to see what happens. I'm excited about the football season. Excited about having Coach Summerall on the show here in a couple of weeks. I know you've talked to him before. And from afar, not knowing anything, and you know a lot more about these guys than I do, I think I like the coaches that they've hired. I believe. And you told me that, it looks like, I don't know much about the defensive coaches. Do you?
I just know Bam Hardman.
Yeah.
He's the only guy I know. I talked to him the other day, but offensively, that's all I care about. I think Troutwine brings a lot to the table. His kids that are transferred in from Penn State and Georgia Tech, they both are going to bring physicality.
Stanford.
I don't know. I don't know how much that guy played. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I think he played a little bit, and he's a big guy. He's a project. They thought a lot of him, I think. And I know who knows about it is Allie Peek Wilbur. She knows, and we'll click on her in a minute and find out here. But no, I mean, just again, what can you tell? We don't know. It's like looking at a Christmas tree, all the packages. You can see the shapes of them, and you don't really know what they are.
Yeah. I do know this. I believe the most dynamic playmaker we'll have on offense next year will be Eric Singleton. And I think Buster Faulkner is a great play caller, and that's what excites me.
Yeah. We haven't getting golf questions because David Baldo wants to know when's Bay Hill. Bay Hill's always the third in rotation, isn't it, at Florida Swing?
I want to say it's next weekend.
Is it that soon?
I think so.
David, you have to Google it. I don't know the dates of those things. I just know I always covered golf. I knew when the Florida Swing started, and looking forward to that too as well. Let's go.
Bay Hill's next weekend, buddy.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Oh, there's your answer right there. You would know Mr. Golf himself. Here's somebody who didn't know, but she knows a lot of other things, and she does some great work. And she'll be able to fill us up on. Am I coming to you too early there, Allie? Is it all right?
Hey there, yeah.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, we were just talking about the coaches, what we thought we knew, and what it seems like and feels like, and the vibe and all that. And Shane's talked about, he likes Faulkner, and we brought Trout wine. You probably heard that. And I know you had some interaction, including with the head coach. That interview still getting played a lot. We're going to finally get him in 4 weeks. We way behind you. We just kind of take the crumbs, what was left over. So, no, but what do you think about the so far the offensive staff? I'm going to let Shane go back. He's going to go to bed.
Yeah, I mean, Shane's going to know way better than I am about the offensive staff, but I love what they have done at other places. I think the overall football IQ of our staff is way higher than it was the last couple of years. And, as long as the offensive line comes together, which, we're going to be relying on some of these transfer guys to step up year one, I think there's no reason our offense can't score a ton of points.
Shane, you agree?
I do. I think they're going to be dynamic on offense.
The question you were asking on your show, and we all ask it, is there legitimate quarterback competition and between Jones and the kid from Georgia Tech? And Shane, you said yes. I heard you say on your show, right? It's not a done deal.
I mean, that's what the head coaches said, that they're going to battle it out, and he will make the decision on who's the best player is, and he'll go be the quarterback.
Ellie, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't make sense to do it any other way. You need to battle it out. They need their best option back there starting, and I think Florida's got a couple great options to pick from. So that's a good problem to have. But Summerall seems to be all about everybody earning it. So it seems counter to what he says if you were to think he's just going to hand the job away to any one person. So I believe him when he says everything is a competition, and we'll get to see that some this spring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Allie, before you came on, we were talking about, I know you weren't there either, but you probably saw the clips from the first year coach award at Spurriers. Shane was there.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about the comedy show they had, the roast they had. It was so funny with Kirby and Cristobal, etc. But I wanted to also focus on somebody else. Our Perry Mason said it was great to see Coach Dickey. Dickey, 93, I saw a line. He got off a line, and Doring was interviewing me. He said, what did Steve Spurrier do to get pressure to get hired? And Dickey said, not much of anything. He said he was hanging around playing golf, and he was here. And we said, well, you want to come give it a try? And he did. And he said they changed their blocking rules. Were you aware of this, Shane? You could put your hands on them. And
yeah.
Said, yeah. And he said Coach Spurrier came in, and he said we all got fired. So
yeah, it wasn't that good, is what he said. Yeah.
And then he went to Georgia Tech and got fired again. So. He said, in all their wisdom, Duke hired the guy, got fired twice, and got a great coach.
Well, Doug Dickey's the one he was the first interview of the night. He's the one that kind of started all the.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was the one that got it going, and all the other guys just followed suit.
Doug Dickey coached my dad at Florida.
Very cool.
No, he didn't coach your dad.
Yes, Charlie Pell and Doug Dickey. Yes, he did.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I'm thinking about your grandfather.
Yeah, no, not my grandfather.
Yeah, I remember your grandfather. I remember he had the coolest photo. You had the photo right there on your desk. That was what they call a law head shot. Shane, you ever hear about a law head shot?
Who?
Law head. It was a guy who went around the SEC taking pictures, and he posed guys in certain ways.
Oh, I have one of my dad at Ole Miss where he's like it's an action photo on air.
Yeah,
they're probably like jumping on a trampoline. I think
that's a law head. Pull that picture up. You have it, Allie?
Yeah.
So there, I love that picture. I wish you put it back in. Yeah, and those are the pictures that we used to see in the papers growing up. See that picture?
I have one of my dad somewhere too. Same thing.
Yeah.
on a trampoline or something.
Is he? Well, he wasn't. Your grandfather wasn't jumping on a trampoline.
No, this is just him on the ground. But I have
That's
like original stock picture of my dad, and so it's zoomed out so you can see the trampoline ground, which is kind of crazy. But
back when I was covering high schools and I was going out and shooting pictures of the team, I tried to imitate Lawhead. Go over here and do this, So just some memories stuck in your mind. Shane, let you go. Who you got on your show tomorrow morning?
What is tomorrow?
Thursday.
It's not me. It ain't me tomorrow.
I got Brent Beard and Dr. Pete. We're going to talk about Lindsey Vaughn's.
I love Dr. Pete. He is the absolute best.
Do you know he's also the personal chef of Urban Meyer? He makes all his Italian food. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
He's a very good cook.
Yeah. Here's Feinberg chirping on Lawhead. See, it's legit. Hold on a second.
Lawhead, L-A-W.
Right there. See it? Yeah, he used a mattress, he said.
Oh, hi, pizza.
Yeah.
That's how you spell it.
Yeah, I didn't know you used a mattress. Thank you, Pizza Bill. Appreciate that very much.
Those all things. If he's saying it, that is exactly what happened.
Yeah. By the way, Lawhead, you don't know this for your time, Shane, but apparently, and I didn't know it either, Pizza Bill, when he grew up in Gainesville there, and he had two other friends that were really close buddies. They went all the way through high school together. And one played ball and one did not. It just so happened, and he wrote about being Jewish and having two best friends being black, which is not an easy thing to do in Gainesville those days, So it was a really tender little thing he put on Facebook, and I appreciate that very much. So anyway, Perry Mason said he was a huge Doug Dickey fan. Let me just say one thing about Dickey that people don't know. I wrote as much critical things about him as anybody, okay? And I was mad at him for what he did to the 69 team. It just so happened. Do you know that story, Shane, of how he came in? The 69 team was my favorite team of any Gator team since Spurrier's 66 team. But, and Ray Graves wound up lied about his situation, but he lost his job and Doug Dickey was hired behind the scenes. Everybody kept denying it. And then Dickey was brought in and he came in as a head coach. But before he came in, he had a bowl game with Tennessee's team. He took them to the Gator Bowl, and guess who he played? The Florida Gators, and the Gators beat him. But he came in here right off the bat. Carlos Alvarez, my buddy, the guy I love, was really upset about it and said so. And anyway, my point was Doug Dickey got he was not exactly welcome with open arms when he came here. And he had a tough go, and he never really overcame it, probably a lot unfairly, but anyway. So Pizza Bill says, hi, Alex. So there you go. All right, I'll let Shane go to bed. Shane, you have a good show tomorrow morning. Thank you.
All right.
We'll talk some golf next week. The great Shane Matthews. Pot up with Matthews. Don't miss him.
Bye, Shane.
See you, buddy. All right, I'm going to have to recap and do it real fast and talk about the basketball. Did you watch the basketball game, Allie?
I watched about 10 minutes of the basketball game, the last 10 minutes. I was putting kids to bed.
The last 10 is what counted because they struggled so off and on. They brought it back at the end, and yeah. So that big win for the Gators. Let's see. I had a question mark on the show Tuesday. Is Florida the hunted or the hunter?
Can they be
now? They could be both for a while, but not long. Got to be one or the other. Right now, they're the hunted. I'm pretty sure they're the hunted. And with game day coming to Gainesville on Saturday, that's going to be huge. They're playing Arkansas that night. Yeah. Big weekend. So yeah, for sure. So let me tell you about our sponsors. Meldon Law. Always love talking to Jeffrey. He's going somewhere every week. This week he's going up to Atlanta for a conference. We're going up to the SEC tournament. SEC here in a few weeks. France and I and my guys, probably a couple others. I imagine Chris Spears will go. I think probably we'll see. Chris Spears probably in Carlton Reese. They'll be up there, and we're going to put together a little book signing up there somewhere in Nashville. So if you know anybody in Nashville, let them know we're coming to town. Meanwhile, let them know about Meldon Law. They'll take care of your needs legally. They're the only official law firm of the University of Florida. We all know about Jeffrey and Carrie now is beginning to take over more of the duties. They have 4 locations to serve you, and a new one in South Florida now, and they're up to over 50 lawyers. Meldon Law, they won't back down. All right, Allie, let's talk some ball.
Okay.
Your interview was sort of set the tone for everybody. And I'm looking forward to talking to Urban on Friday. We're having him on our local show and talking about what he said about how he got so enamored with John Summerall. Did you hear that story?
So I actually right before I didn't hear. I saw a little clip on social media of Urban and John talking about it, but I actually had heard secondhand this story right before we hired Summerall. A booster that I talked to on a semi-regular basis had said, "Listen, Urban told Strickland that this is a young Urban," and this was like right before they were gonna. It was like right before the Florida State game, and we were like 90% sure that's who the coach was going to be, but nobody had said anything. And I thought that was crazy then. Like, what a statement. Urban thinks that this is a young Urban. Like, that moves the needle for me. But I think it's so great that UF had Urban and Danny and people that really care about this university involved in the coaching search this time around. And it makes you wish they had been involved in previous coaching searches. Because I really do think it helped us end up with who I think is going to be the right choice.
Felt like family.
Yeah.
Sometimes I didn't think Billy wanted family.
No, I think he viewed Florida as broken. And like, how can I come in here and fix this broken mess? When in reality, it wasn't that it was broken. The train might have gotten off the tracks a little bit, but like, we knew who we are as a university, as fans. We know what our tradition is. We want somebody to hop in and embrace that, not create something new.
When did you know that Billy was not the right guy?
Arkansas year 2.
We talked about this. I think we discussed it. I think I was still hanging on for hope.
Watching the discombobulation on the sidelines and honestly watching Eric have a freaking heart attack. Not the kind of heart attack like, if Florida loses, but they played a great game, he's not the kind that like.
But giving it away.
It was giving it away, and it was the discombobulation on special teams for him.
Right.
It's something that was, Phil Troutwine talks about the no talent things. That's a no talent thing. Same concept as us continually having the wrong number of men on the field or continual false starts or, some of the crazy penalties that we would have or having to take a timeout, coming off of a quarter break or something like that because we didn't know what we're doing. Those are the no talent things that this staff has talked about. And I think in hindsight, some of the things that we did wrong are actually some of the easiest to correct. And the fact that in hindsight, we never did that is kind of crazy to think about, now that we've lived through that.
Yeah. And it's exasperating. And I think we've got it loud and clear from Summerall. There won't be any Matt.
That's what he said. Which honestly, if we have the correct number of men on the field, have them out. I don't care. Just send the right number out and have an adult, not a kid.
It seems like one of the easiest things to do.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of times on special teams and even quarterbacks. I was in high school. My coach taught me to count the players. It's not that hard to do that. And I don't think they ever got that right. But nonetheless, I'm not gonna keep bashing Napier. I see he settled his lawsuit, by the way.
Yeah, saw that.
With the Shada, wishing the best. But as someone said, he sounds like he has the same script by James Madison that he had at Florida, which makes it feel like it's true when Mike Griffith says that he came to Florida with his Nick Saban starter kit. Wanted to be just like Nick Saban. But I think I hear guys like Shane get excited. Yeah. And I think when you talked, and you did talk to him, that the interview keeps going round and round and round. And I heard his interview, other interview today or yesterday, heard Urban talk to Urban about him, and it just comes up right, comes
Yeah.
up feeling right, and it's the kind of thing that get your hopes up. And hey, it feels good to see your basketball team being ranked number one in the SEC. It's okay to feel good, and it feels good to think that someone made a crack last or Monday night at maybe it was Mullen.
It was Mullen.
Who said maybe the new coach of Florida will be the coach of the year and win 8 games.
Yeah. Mullen was really funny. Some of the clips from that are hilarious. And, over the weekend, Summerall tweeted out a picture. He was watching the men's basketball game on his phone while sitting at another sporting event. I want to say he was at baseball, maybe. I don't know.
He goes to a lot of games, doesn't he?
Yeah. And I just I think this coaching staff gets the marketing more, but more than just the marketing, I think they really actually care about engrossing themselves in all that UF has to offer. And that just feels like such a genuine change. Now, it's easy to do it right now. We're in the hope phase. There's nothing that we can judge on the field yet. We are buying what he's selling, and he is telling us the right things. What I will be interested to see is when things don't go his way, which will happen at times, does he remain the same person? And, he says that he will. His past track record.
He promises he's not going to change.
Yeah, he says that he is who he is. And honestly, I talked to Eric's cousin, grew up down the street from him. And I've talked to him about Summerall quite a bit because they played baseball together. They're still friends. And he told me one of the things he's always admired about him is that he is the person he is, no matter what anybody thinks. And he does not care what anybody's opinion of him is. And so hopefully he keeps that, because that's going to be important for this job, and but as of right now, I think he's really done such a great job proving that he's the right person for the job. So now he's just going to win.
Yeah, for the people that ask me questions on here, Baldoff said his friends go to the basketball game. No, he did not. I think this guy did. Though, stand back for a second. Let's see if we can get him aboard. We can't not talk about hoop.
Yeah.
This is a big moment this week. Game day coming to town, Florida number one. You keep thinking maybe they might be. You're hoping that they're not. They'll lose their magic touch. And it sure looks a little curious today when they got behind by 8 in Texas. And yet they brought it all together. At one point they had Chimilu on the bench with 4 fouls, and they had Hough with a sprained ankle, and they were playing with 3 bench guys. And you're thinking they're playing on the road against Texas, not an easy place for anybody to play. And they're struggling. Yeah, they're struggling a little bit. They're going to have the task here, and they were equal to it, Kevin Brockway, weren't they?
Yes. I would say Haugh turned his ankle. I don't think it was that severe, but he was on the bench for a little bit.
We didn't know. We didn't know at the time.
He was a little off, but last 6 minutes they got plenty of stops, buddy. I mean, that was just the key of the game.
And blocks. How many blocks did they wind up? But they
ratcheted up the defensive intensity. Yeah, they had 11 blocks.
About 10 of those in the second half.
I mean, they were all over the place. They kind of forced Texas to play one-on-one, and they were just waiting at the rim. So, I mean, it was very impressive in terms of, how they defended that last 5 or 6 minutes. And it bleeds over into the offense. It bled over. They were confident. They were in rhythm, shooting the ball, and they just had that late run that kind of pulled away. And I think this is a good test for them because on the road, it's kind of a tight game for 35 minutes. But they showed that they could close out a team on the road. And, if you played with a lot of confidence, and if you can do that in that kind of environment in Texas, I think you've got a good shot in March in the NCAA tournament as well.
Well, Allie, I think they needed it.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good to have some adversity, right? He had an off night. There's some foul trouble. Like it's good to face adversity before you get into conference play and the NCAA tournament play.
You know what's amazing is how seasons, they can almost be like 3-act plays, right?
Yes.
And in the beginning of the season, Thomas Haugh was kind of dominating offensively and really carrying the team through some stretches and kind of established his depth yet. Then Ruben Shinyulu comes on. and has all these double doubles and in January and early February. But as teams compensate and key on other guys, then it opens things up for Alex Condon. And tonight he has 23. He's playing with a lot more confidence and rhythm. Boogie Flan had 22 as well. And he was a guy that couldn't buy a bucket early in the season as well. So offensively, that's the sign of a good team, is when some people are struggling. And and Hal had foul trouble, 5 points, 5 fouls. He fouled out. Other guys kind of step up. And when you have a rotation now that's 8 players deep, you can count on multiple guys for production and other guys picking each other up when they're having an off night offensively. But it really starts, the foundation really starts with defense. And that's what they did. They protected the rim well. Rebounding for a while. Texas matched them size-wise, but they picked up some big rebounds late, scrapped for some loose balls. And I just thought that was, really a good test and a good turning point for them. They were down about 4 or 5 in the second half, too, at about the 10-minute mark. And, managed to, really make that run and retake control of the game. And Todd and the staff, once again, making some really good adjustments.
Well, you had the 2 guys that were on the floor, were guys, the architects of comeback. Shinley was always there and making big plays. And then Thomas Haugh is the guy that gets you that clutch 3 when you need it. And they had boy, I tell you what, though, Alex Condon has really played well for 3 weeks.
He's played a lot better. He had some of the turnover bugaboos, but today he was much more under control. And there was actually a great sequence during a defensive stop where I think Condon, it might have been off a rebound or off a steal. He takes the ball down the floor like a point guard. And this is what the best.
They call him a point center on the broadcast.
This is what the best Florida teams do. Because I saw this back in the day with Noah Herford. When you big guy that takes down the floor like a point guard, sets up out for an alley-oop dunk. That's exciting to see, and that just shows the versatility of the team. When you have bigs that can run the floor, bigs that can handle the ball, it just creates a lot of binds for opposing teams, especially in transition.
Allie reminds me of another basketball team in Florida one time and did that, where they would just absolutely everything starts with those block shots.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the amazing how quick they get the ball down the floor after a made basket.
Oh, yeah. It's because they're incredibly athletic. This is, and I think that, Kevin, you mentioned something about, they have a bench that's at least 8 deep. And I think that's something that's pretty rare in college basketball these days. And part of that is NIL related, I think, is that there's just such a step down after your 5, which isn't the way these teams used to be built probably 10 years ago, right? Where you had more guys that you went to. But I feel like Florida is, I don't know, would it be fair to say that they're built more like an old school team than this NIL era?
Well, it's amazing, Allie, and I think some of it has to do, it's a credit to your development and to your bench and for getting people to buy in. Because if you remember last year, they had Haugh and Aberdeen both coming off the bench as 6 and 7 guys. Yeah. And so, last year they were 9 deep with productive people, and this year they're 8. But that's, development. That's Isaiah Brown sticking around for a sophomore year, kind of biding his time, developing, getting better. That's credit to the
now he's the 8th man. Now he's the guy they need.
But it took him, buddy, it took him a while to find his footing in the non-conference too, which is part of why Florida struggled a little bit in non-conference. It took him a while and the coaching staff a while to develop the trust in him and for him to harness that athleticism and play under control. And by him doing that in December and January, this team added another weapon off the bench. And that's a credit, again, coaching staff, development.
Yeah, that's
putting the work in as well. Yeah.
At this point, right? Like a golden hallmark of the teams that he's built here. It just is, I think it's worth noting because it's just different than most teams in college basketball are built these days. Last year's team, like you said, even deeper, but and that's why Florida was so good so late last year, right? If somebody's in foul trouble or somebody's having an off night or you're okay, next man up. And I don't know. I think that's part of what makes them so fun to cheer for too.
The best teams, when you can go to your bench and not have a significant drop off. And that's what last year's team had, and that's what this year's team is starting to have. It didn't have it in November and December, and that's why it struggled because they weren't getting the bench production in the games like UConn and Duke, and they're getting that now in SEC play. And part of that is just this team growing and developing over time. And again, that goes back to coaching development, guys getting better, a team getting better. That goes back to Todd. And, it's ridiculous. I was just watching TV and, for the risk of sounding too provincial, which I rarely do, buddy, as you know, but I'm watching TV and Dave O'Brien, they have Bucky McMillan on and stuff like that. And he said, I just tweeted this. He said, I can't think of anyone else that could be deserving of SEC Coach of the Year. I mean, seriously, Todd had to reinvent this team on the fly in the middle of the season, develop these guys. He's the defending national championship coach. He's the youngest coach since Jim Valvano to win a national championship. You didn't name him SEC Coach of the Year last year. He deserves it this year. If they're going to win the SEC, the guy's got to win the award.
He probably won't get it. He probably won't get it.
Bucky McMillan was like the flavor of the month for what?
Bucky McMillan. Come on, man. Bucky McMillan.
They're for what?
They're not that good. They aren't that good.
For one good month and 9 and 6. Todd deserves SEC Coach of the Year.
I agree.
The wins and not care though, which is one of the best parts about him too.
Yeah.
Well, he cares, but he has a way of putting it away, and it does hurt you when you think you deserve something. But he doesn't lose any sleep over it. That's a cool thing. I want to take care of a couple of things in business. Get back to basketball. One of them, I want to say congratulations to Kevin for getting the award he just got for the APSC awards. Kevin, congratulations. That's how many times you won this thing?
It was my fifth, and I appreciate it, buddy, and thank you very much for the kind words. And it was for our Final Four coverage last year for event. And I also shared the award with Noah Ram, who I don't know if you know Noah. He does a fine job.
Yeah, I know Noah. Noah does a good job,
covering high schools, and came out with me in San Antonio and really rose to the occasion. A rising young star in our business. So, and it's a team effort with the editors too, and so forth. And we all kind of pulled together and did our thing and provided, the coverage to the community that it deserves for a national championship level team, and for Florida deserves too, frankly. And you could read all the coverage in our book. I know you like to plug Fran's book, but
sorry, no. Well, I mean, Fran's, it's our book.
I know.
But we show the love to you too.
No, I know. I appreciate it.
Tell us about your book.
No, it's Champions, and it's available obviously online. www, I believe, thenet.com. But it's like I said, our kind of coffee table book that is basically encompassing our stories and photos and so forth and everything of the national championship season. Who knows? Maybe we'll have another one again in 2026. You never know.
Never know. Yeah. Oh, good luck on that. Yeah. And I want to say happy birthday to my son Brendan.
Yes, I saw that.
He's been my business partner for 30 years.
Wow.
We've been in business together, and we've done it all. It's not easy being a father-son. You always get, I'm sure I drive him crazy sometime, and vice versa. But I love him. He's talented, and I'm just blessed. So happy birthday to him. Now, one more thing I want to be sure and tell folks to check out our sponsors. And we'll tell you about one of them in just a minute, but I want to make sure you know. Of course, we know about Melton Law already. And we want to please ask you to participate and go support them as well. So Jeffrey will be along maybe the night later. He's out late, or maybe tomorrow night. So, all right. So guys, here it is. We have questions on here from people. It says you can respond to them. Brent English says Buckyball getting smoked in Fayetteville tonight. There you go. And then Neil 476 says Texas fans actually showed up, unlike Ole Miss and others. That is true. They show up pretty well in Texas, I'm sure. And then Pizza Bell says, what can Brown do for you? Isaiah Brown, airmailing the Longhorns. Good to see him stepping up. So you see a little light goes on, Kevin, sometimes these guys, and they say, okay, I know what I got to do now. Play good D, get in there, make a play, shoot a three, whatever. And how much fun, I was going to get to in a minute, how much fun is it to watch certain guys play? Can you not just love Klazar, the way he shoots his three? It looks like he's got 2 inches. He steps back and puts it up there and knocks it down at the right time. And I told you already about I watch Alex Condon running the floor. And my favorite player is Thomas Haugh. So this is a fun team to watch for me. How about you guys?
I thought Lee was fun tonight. In the 10 minutes that I got to watch, I saw him hit a 3 and he celebrating and his hair's kind of bouncing and stuff. He was very into it. But it's a fun team to watch.
You didn't see his turnovers in the first half.
No.
Yeah. And I missed that too because I didn't tune in until like halfway through.
Yeah, he had a rough first start.
He did have a rough start, I had heard, but the thing with the backcourt is, they're playing with, so much more confidence than they were in November and December. And, as we alluded to before, you've got 4 of them now, right? You've got Klafstar shooting. You've got Isaiah Brown showing off his athleticism. He's probably the most athletic of all the guys in the backcourt. And you've got, Lee and Flan. And Flan had 22 tonight. I mean, Boogie was hitting shots. He was getting in the lane. He was hitting pull-ups. But
he missed it. He missed a slam. He
did miss a slam, but Xavier got the rebound and they got a basket.
Can you believe that, though? He's always knocks those things down. He gets up there. You just don't see that very often.
That stuff happens in basketball. But he was fine otherwise. If he missed a slam and scored 2 points in the game, buddy, I'd give him a harder time. They got 22.
No, I'm just saying that he's so good at it. I just expect him to make that picture perfect every time. You didn't see that out. That was earlier in the game. So So we got this going on right now. It's going to be fun to have the basketball team play well. And I guess we got Kevin. What's the story on football starting?
Yeah, March 3rd, spring practice. So and they passed the gauntlet today.
They did.
They did.
Which was interesting. And I think, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this on last week's podcast, but the entitlement era, I think, is over. I think these guys are going to have to earn what they get. And that's what I'm going to be interested in seeing in spring practice and the competition and what kind of edge. We only get a few minutes, though. Hopefully we'll get a little more, here and there. There have been some rumblings of that. We'll see.
You mean the media? The media.
But the media gets a little bit more.
Yeah.
I feel
like the viewing periods are, because sometimes we get them in shorts just throwing and stuff and everything. So, but you talk to players during the spring also, and you get a feel for, how intense it is.
Yeah.
And then, the byproduct will ultimately be the spring game, which, again, I'm sure there'll be limited contact in some areas of that, but
absolutely.
But
they don't want to show off their players too much,
Hey, but at least we're still having a spring game. Lots of schools have done away with it.
Exactly.
That's true.
But I still think he wants to set that physical tone, and I think that's going to be like interesting to see how that crystallizes during the course of the season and how it shows up on the field next fall, because he wants his teams to be a lot more hardened and calloused, and he's talked on a number of podcasts about that, including probably yours, Allie, about that. Just the whole idea of being a tougher minded team, both physically and mentally.
I really think is so validating to a lot of the former players that I'm around on a regular basis, because I think that was their biggest gripe. I mean, I'm married to somebody who never shut up about the fact that he didn't think that our teams the last few years have been tough. And it's not. Well,
he agrees with that. He said that.
Yeah. And so I actually played him the clip from the podcast with Urban this morning and was like, listen to this. Like, that's exactly what I've been saying for the last 4 years. But I think there's such a difference between not being tough and not being in shape. And I think that's where the last staff kind of went wrong, was that they were in shape. It's not like during the fourth quarter we were watching these guys be absolutely gassed. It's that in the fourth quarter, when you've got to hold on, they weren't tough enough to do that. And those are two different things. But I do think this, and last year you can think about when we had that turnaround 2 years ago and we won. We beat LSU and we beat Ole Miss and stuff. And one of the things that Napier got in the press conferences and said was, well, we made practice competitive this week. Every former player that I knew's head exploded that week, because they were like, what do you mean this week you made practice competitive? What does that mean the other weeks were? And so I think that this is just music to a group of people's ears who needed to hear it, to feel like, I don't want to say that it was safe to come back, but that okay, we can buy in now. We can believe this was a problem that we saw. He's acknowledging that he's seen it too. That's great. Let's fix it.
They keep score on every play. And they keep score for the day. And they say, you won or you lost. everything. It reminds me of Spurrier's story, talking about when he was a kid. And it's in the book and in my book, and he said it many times before. You guys have heard him when he was 11, 12 years old playing baseball. They had great teams. His dad had a travel ball team, and his dad was a preacher. And they went out and they had a practice and called the kids off to the side. And his dad told the team, maybe you've heard about the fact that it doesn't matter if you win or lose. Let me tell you why it matters. They keep score, okay? When they keep score, you want to win. That was ingrained in Steve early on.
Well, Urban ingrained that in his guy. When Eric coaches our 6-year-olds, the amount of, do you want to have fun out there? Do you know what's fun? Winning. And he literally tells 6-year-olds. And like, I have a core memory. Our Hadley, who's 11 now, sit at the kitchen table playing 8U soccer, and they're in the playoffs. And she said, Daddy, do you think I can start today? And he goes, Hadley, do you want to help your team win? And she's like, yeah. And he goes, then no. And like, but that is Urban. That's what Urban instilled in every one of these guys. So if we're getting that again, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a fine line between that and being the guy who goes over the, over the top parents. I've been around a lot of them. I've seen a lot of them. You have. You got to be careful about that. Mm-hmm. And I was impressed this past week. My friend who does local radio show, I'll let you guys go after this, that here in town, my friend who is the white hat at the big 707 event here in Panama City, where they have lots of teams from Alabama and Georgia, and they do it right. And they tell them off the bat, if you say a word, you're gone, not just for this game, but for the season. They tell the parents, you're gone.
I would be thrown out. I've gotten Eric carded before. Can't help it. I got Eric carded, and the ref said, I've heard from that blonde lady twice this game. I said, well, this is the first time. He wouldn't have heard from me this time.
Oh, my word.
I remember when I used to coach youth soccer, I used to get a lot of grief, too. So it's back in the West in my 20s, and it seems like ages ago. But, I think back to the USF game, which was really kind of the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah. About 30 seconds, Kevin. Go ahead.
Yeah, you think about that stat. You think about 16 to 15. You still have a chance. Mental mistake, some physical mistakes, and you walk away with a loss. So that's the difference between, still being a coach of Florida or not.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin Brockway, award-winning reporter for the Gainesville Sun and Gannett. Thank you, Kevin. And Peek Wilbur gets all the stars on her podcast every week. Be sure and check her out. She's always got good stuff. Who knows who will be the next star who will come to her podcast. Great stuff, Allie, again, for all the stuff you've done. Guys, thank you so much for tonight. Appreciate you, all right?
Thank you, guys.
Next week.
All right. Thank you to both of them, two of the outstanding guests we have here. And, of course, also to Shane Matthews, who we heard earlier in the program. Shane is tomorrow morning. Don't forget to watch him. He does a good job on his show. So I'll just say thank you to our sponsors. I want to make a special note of Titan MRI and Imaging. They're fine people. They do a great job, and they're getting ready to open a place in Ocala, hopefully. They have 3 locations now, 2 in Gainesville, Park Avenue, and the Millennium Center, and 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI Imaging offers the same great customer service. They accept insurance, so you can go through the convenient self-pay program. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds. The great thing about them is they make easy scheduling. If you can't come in the afternoon, you can come at night. They have those larger MRI machines, which makes you where you can go in. You don't have to go crazy, get claustrophobia. So check them out. Coming to Ocala soon. Titan MRI. It's your choice. Thanks, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Back tomorrow night with the program with Fans Spurriers breaks down the basketball game. Don't forget, if you're not a member of Gator Bait, join. You should be there. It's where the good stuff is. Have a good night.